Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, November 24th, Monday, November 25th, for those of you across the pond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Hope you had a rockin' weekend and an awesome day. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are live tonight on Spreaker, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and just recently, Deezer. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Mr. Craig Leafloor. And Craig is a highly sensitive empath and medium. Craig has had his abilities since he was young. At first he was analyzing pictures, and then as he grew up, he was able to predict death up to a 3-month window. He is also able to see health issues. He has been doing readings with accuracy for some time. He has been involved in investigating the paranormal for 10 years now, working with OPRI, which is Ottawa Paranormal Research and Investigations, and dealing with lost spirits, loved ones, and demonic cases. Really just helping where anyone needed his and the team's help. That's what Craig likes to do. He has helped people feel better by connecting with loved ones. He also cleanses homes of evil and dark entities. Hey, Craig, welcome back, and thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me again.
Hi, Tessa. Thanks for having me.
So how have you been? How's life been treating you?
Life has been great. Been doing lots of different things. Been getting into Reiki healing. Been getting into a lot of meditation and different binary beats, sounds that can heal the body. And also still doing the paranormal.
That's awesome. So we have a lot of new listeners and some of the same friends that you remember as well, but could you tell our listeners a bit more about you and how you first discovered your gift?
Well, I guess I was always an empath. I just didn't know what it meant to be an empath. I just knew I could always feel other people's emotions, and I was able to pick up on them pretty easy. Through my 20s, I kind of just ignored my gifts and didn't really try to progress in them, just kind of tried to forget. And in my 30s, I got back into it, and now I just keep trying to learn more and more as I go along.
So you said recently you've been writing some, seminars or learning materials for people that do work in the paranormal?
Yes.
What's going on with that?
Well, I'm doing seminars to help either teach people that want to get into it or are just really curious about what it is all about. Teaching how to keep yourself safe and what to do, what not to do, and different types of spirits and what you may come across.
So what are some things that people should be aware of? I know a lot of people watch these shows and then try to go do their own paranormal investigations, and what should they know when they go out there to protect themselves and such?
Well, I guess first, don't go alone. That's the one main thing. You never know what you're going to find, and that's the biggest hurdle is you just don't know what can come out. There's obviously lots of tools that you can use. Our main thing, though, when I'm doing an investigation is debunking. Is 99% of the time that's what we need to do. We need to debunk everything, and if we can't debunk it, then we take it to the next level. So obviously, for those that don't know what we use EVP recorders, which is just electronic voice phenomena, where we record while we ask questions and hopefully get a response. There's EMF recorders, which they measure the electronic frequencies in the air. So a lot of people say they feel uncomfortable in the laundry room. They feel people are watching them. They feel uneasy. Well, normally that's where the breaker box is. So where the breaker box is, the EMF will be off the chart. So it will cause hallucinations. It can cause paranoia. It can cause so many different things. The energy really does affect our mind and our thought patterns. Then we have, again, the voice recorder. We have temperature guns, which kind of just give us a reading of different temperatures in the home. We have full spectrum cameras, infrared cameras, which will indicate hot spots in the room. So if someone put their hand on the wall and walked away, you would still see that hand on the wall. So if you're catching hot spots where there was nobody, then you really know you're actually capturing somebody or a spirit. And then we also have laser grids, which allow us to set up, and it kind of points dots all over the room. So if anything crosses that, then we can pick it up on our cameras as well. So those are kind of the main equipment that we use. Obviously, we have walkie-talkie to talk to each other, to keep each other safe, so we all know where we are in the building. And for myself, being a medium, I would always do my predictions prior to going to a case. I was never allowed to know anything about the case. And once we got to the case, we corresponded what I perceived was going to happen and the spirit that may be there, and kind of put it together. And then really it's about keeping everybody safe, especially the client. We are going into their home, and we could be stirring something up. So if we're not careful, that could seriously harm the client and ourselves. So although I'm not a real highly religious person, the St. Michael prayer does work. I use it all the time. It seemed to really piss them off. So I don't know why it works, it just does. So that's what we do just to start with. We say the St. Michael prayer, we make sure everybody is protected, and then we kind of go in with trying to figure out what kind of entity or spirit, or if it's a residual haunting, which means it's kind of a videotape where it just keeps repeating and repeating. So it's not an intelligent spirit, it's just a spirit that keeps doing the exact same thing over and over again. It doesn't know you're there, and it just doesn't know you're there. And then you have other spirits where they're more intelligent. They will talk to you. They can move things. They may even be able to be a full apparition. So in that aspect, it's nice. You know, it's intelligent, and you can kind of get information and proof that there is something there. Then, of course, you have the poltergeist, which is a very, very harmful, fear-based spirit. It will harm you. It will hurt you. It normally starts out with being a friend, you know, like a little girl with the friend that she talked to, but nobody's there. They kind of start out friendly and turn out to be quite evil. And then, of course, you have the severe demonic type spirits or demons, which there is 666 of them. So I'm not going to say all of them, but there are a few that we see a lot and hear a lot of, and that would be the Hat Man or shadow figures, succubus or incubus, and that kind of demonic entities. And then familiars, which would be animal spirits, that kind of thing, guides. So, and of course, we have the loved ones, which are there just trying to, pass on a message, or, shadows of our previous animals that have passed. People say that they hear that our cat, kind of meowing in the background, and they don't have a cat no more. So, sometimes our pets like to come back and say hi. So that's pretty much the main ones. Now, if it's not a loved one, you need help. Get help. Once it's past, oh, I know it's my dad that's coming to see me, then it could be anything. And that's where a professional is really what is required. Definitely look into the team that you're calling, make sure they are reputable, make sure they know their stuff, and make sure they're there for you and not just there for themselves. And that's, for the most part, that's pretty much it. Once we go in and do our investigation, we come back a couple weeks later after we've gone through everything and kind of just let the client know what we have captured and what next best avenue to go through. If it means getting a priest in there, or doing that kind of cleansing on the home, or smudging, or prayers and oils and holy waters. So there's so many different things we can do with that.
What is one of the most, I guess, amazing or mind-blowing things that you've experienced during an investigation?
I had a 5-foot lady try to stab me with a steak knife.
Oh, wow.
That was interesting. It took 3 of us guys to get the steak knife out of her hand. So yeah, that was a little strange, because we were 3 big enough guys that we could have taken care of that no problem, but it was actually a struggle. She was possessed, so that one was definitely an eye-opener for me, and it made me kind of question what I was doing there. But it was excellent, and we helped the lady, and everything turned out great. So that was, I'd say, the most serious. But I have had many cases with children that they have heard voices, the classic voice under the bed or in the closet. And we had one recently where the girl was actually being harmed. Now, they had proof of it, and we saw proof when we were there. So it was definitely more of a poltergeist type entity, and that took a little longer than most to deal with. But now the family has said everything still seems nice and peaceful, and things are moving on quite nicely for them.
A lot of times people say that a poltergeist is actually energy that comes from perhaps a preteen or a teenager, or even sometimes someone in their latter years. Do you think it has to do with a person with high vibrations, or do you think this is just a separate entity altogether?
Great question. Really, none of us know. I believe there's more than one poltergeist. So, yes, they're different. Yes, they're definitely on a different frequency. The more power they have, the higher their frequency is. So they're able to do more. With a poltergeist, they're just bent on destroying you from the inside out. Be it, being paralyzed in bed, being not able to move, feeling pressure, feeling something on you, feeling someone scratch you or touch you. Those are all more of a poltergeist type. And, they can also throw you across the room. Like, they're very, very powerful. So they're definitely not one to fool around with.
Yeah, and I believe poltergeist means noisy spirit. But, yeah, it's very interesting how those work. Do you think that a spirit over time can learn different abilities as far as moving things and throwing things? A lot of times a spirit will scratch you or poke you or whatnot to get your attention. A lot of people think only demonic presences scratch, but I think regular intelligent entities do that as well. Have you had any experience with a spirit that does such a thing to try to get attention?
Yes. Actually, a couple doors down from my house, went in, did an investigation. It ended up being her grandma. The grandma's picture always fell off the wall, and the lady was treated horribly by this grandma. So while they were living in the home, the grandma passed away. She came and basically terrorized her for years and would push her, would make her feel uncomfortable, scratch her, wake up with scratches. And really all the lady wanted was to be forgiven. She just wanted to be forgiven. And she went to that extent to even hurting her to make her know that she was there. And all she wanted was to be forgiven. So when she forgave her, the house was clear. It was just that simple. We did a quick little smudging, and everything's been fine since. So yes, I think regular spirits that feel they have no other way but to touch you or hurt you to get your attention, they will do that.
So how long have you been working with the Ottawa group?
The Ottawa group would be about 9 years now. I was on a previous team for about a year and a half. So I've been with two teams and then also on my own. But again, I don't go into homes alone. I always have somebody with me. And that's just for protection for them and ourselves.
Yeah, it's very important. You should never go alone. It's always good to have backup or a teammate there, to help you out. Or just to be there to actually view what's going on or to note the experiences. What is your favorite piece of equipment when you go out on an investigation?
That's a good question. I like the voice recorders. I've tried ghost boxes. Seem pretty interesting, and when you actually start getting activity responding on that, the ghost box is excellent. So yeah, I'd say the ghost box, but you don't always get a reply. So it's kind of a hit and miss.
When you guys do go on an investigation, do you just go and do like a preliminary thing? Will you spend a few days or a good amount of time in a place so the spirit or entity or whatnot can get to know you or get used to your energy and perhaps try to communicate? I think a lot of times they'll hide out because they don't want you to find them. Like they're afraid of being banished or whatnot, you know. And somebody asked me just recently, when I cleanse my house, does every spirit have to leave? But generally when you do a cleansing, for me, I always say all dark energies and entities must leave. Only love and light can stay. So I told her, you know, you can keep certain spirits around and get rid of the negative ones. But
that's right. And I totally agree with that. I say the exact same thing. Only God, love, and light can be here. And that includes any positive spirits. Any dark entities will automatically have to go.
When they go, where do you think they go? Like, do they move on to another place? Do they just kind of, I don't know. I think as a spirit you have free agency, but for different spirits there's different things going on due to belief systems and certain things like that. But I often wonder, where do they go?
I think they're different realms. And I think with the realms, obviously the demonic really are everywhere. So if they hop out of me, they're just on to the next. It just a revolving door for them. They're affecting thousands and thousands of people at the exact same time. So to lose one while they've already gained another. So it's, you know, especially like the Hat Man, and they consider him a collector of souls. So he's everywhere. We kick him out of one place and then a week later he'll be in another. Like he's just everywhere. So I believe they can be at different places at the exact same time. So really I think we just push them out of the house and they can find another place to go. And you know, they could be going back to, you know, say hell, if they want to call it hell, or I don't know if there's a holding place just for demons, but you know, I think with loved ones, I believe they're our guide. I believe they're in heaven looking over us, or at least on some kind of realm where they all are. And they could even be in the 5D, which is the fifth dimension. I will talk a little bit about remote viewing and astral planing and the different realms. That realm has, for me, that realm had thousands of people on the sides. And it felt like I could talk to each one if I wanted to. I flew on by because I thought they were boring. And, but to me, that sounds kind of more of what our guides are there for. And they're there if we need to access them. So, yeah, it's kind of different for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how they are able to be anywhere at any point in time. My daughter lived in a house in Ignacio, and it was actually an old Catholic church. And anytime I've been in a place that used to be a church that is no longer, it's generally not good. At first, she wasn't having any activity. First time I went over there, I was like, hey, you know this house is haunted, right? And she's like, oh, no, we haven't had any experiences. But shortly after that, I guess her and her friends got into the attic. There were different things up there, like cassette tapes. There was a satanic Bible There was some rocks that looked all bubbly, and I guess her friends took the Satanic Bible and the bubbly-looking black rocks and such, and I don't know, the guy would just carry these things around in his pocket, these rocks. But she said after that is when the activity started in her house, and the first one that she experienced was a blonde-headed, younger adult, probably 19, 20-ish, kind of sitting in front of her with his knees up to his chest, moving his head back and forth really fast and kind of scratching his head at the same time. And she said he was wearing like these old dingy looking briefs, and that was about it. At first she thought it was her boyfriend, and then she realized that it wasn't, so she ran past it, went into the room, and of course her boyfriend was there. Shortly after, the Hat Man showed up, and he was chasing her around the house, basically lunging at her. And there was a little guy there as well who was afraid of this entity, and he'd just kind of hover in different corners and such. But it's interesting that you say he's like a soul collector. After her and her boyfriend had broke up, I guess he had gotten into some hard drugs, so on and so forth. And it made me wonder, could this first entity that she saw at that time be like a future representation of her boyfriend? And she also thought that he looked exactly like her boyfriend, but skinnier, more eaten up from the drugs or whatnot. Wow. So that was pretty interesting. It makes you wonder, was that just a preview of what he would turn out? Yeah.
You know what? It very well could be the Hat Man can do a lot. He can make you see a lot. Now, your daughter obviously has gifts. For her to see the guy in the chair right away, that's a gift. She is able to see a spirit. The Hat Man, you don't have to be gifted to see it. If you see it, you're screwed. It knows you saw it, and that's that.
Right.
But it will go to the one it can affect the easiest. Now, usually that's teenagers, adolescents, children, and then they kind of move up through the family ranks. If there is a person that is into heavy drugs, they're definitely weak and are able to be influenced a lot easier, and a lot easier to have attachments kind of put on them. And I think after the Hat Man has kind of cornered his victim, so to speak, I think he leaves something with them. And sort of like an attachment of bad luck or something along those lines, and then he just moves on to the next. So that's where maybe these shadow figures or little shadow demons come into place, where the Hat Man has already been, and he just leaves them there. Now, I know the Hat Man does like to hold little children, spirits. He often has other spirits in the home, and he controls them. So that is definitely something that happens a lot, where the Hat Man is, there usually is another child or other spirit that feels kind of caged, and it can't leave the premises. So those are the ones we kind of want to cross over, and then obviously deal with the Hat Man or any negative spirit and get rid of them.
Yeah, it was crazy when we went over there, because you could tell that her adrenaline was pumping. Like her eyes were just so dilated, and she'd be dodging and try and get away from it. And I was just like, try not to fear it. Know that you're more powerful than this thing, and it'll eventually lose interest. And her boyfriend, and they had a roommate as well, didn't believe her at first and, just thought she was crazy. But then it started to affect them, and they started to see it. So it is funny how it starts with one person and then it kind of spreads around and causes that chaos and havoc. There was so much bad stuff that happened in that house, but luckily she's out of there, and she hasn't said anything recently about the Hat Man or anything like that. I think her very first happening there, she had a dream that she was in the bathtub, and she saw this woman coming towards her that looked like she had been in the water for a very long time, and her hair was blonde, but it looked like it was in the water as well, kind of floating around. And she said right as soon as she saw it, she knew who it was. It was Mommy E. And she hasn't talked about or seen Baby E or Mommy E since she was like 2 or 3 years old. And she's like, Mom, why is she coming back? How did she find me? Which is interesting, so many miles from this certain location, and this entity had found her. And then, all this other crazy stuff started happening. Does a spirit kind of hold a grudge, or can it hold a grudge? Or I guess it could be some sort of attachment, how it could find her like that, I'm not sure.
If it feels like it's not been heard, yes. I haven't heard of that one, so can you explain that one?
So, when she was 2 and 3 years old, we lived in an A-frame up in Twin Lakes, and she had her own room, but she would insist on all the lights being out and the door being closed and that everybody be quiet. Eventually she explained that Baby E was sleeping, and if Baby E were woken up, Mommy E would get angry. She would talk about seeing the hand coming over her bed, but I guess Baby E and Mommy E mostly hung out in that room. It actually opened our door one time, and I got up thinking it was Kinsey and swung the door open. She wasn't there. Ran down the stairs because at that point we had taken her from her room and put her downstairs because we thought she would be safer. And she was down there asleep. One night we were sitting and watching movies, and she said, she went flying, like cartwheeling through the air, down the stairs, hit the bottom of the stairs without touching any stairs on the way down. We took her to the hospital to make sure she was okay, no internal damages or whatnot. But she thought it was me she thought I pushed her down the stairs, but it wasn't me. We were downstairs watching TV. It was Mommy E. She said that the way it all began, Baby E died, so Mommy E died to go be with Baby E. And Mommy E looked like she was in the water for a long time.
So that could be the howling lady or the screaming lady. Really, I think they're both the same. And it is basically what you said. Mother lost a child and committed suicide to be with that child. But being that she committed suicide, that's not how we're supposed to go. So with that kind of karma, she has kind of turned into this old hag, kind of evil, or, like the Wicked Witch of the West type thing, where very domineering and, again, can be very harmful. Again, it starts with hands or, feeling touched at the feet before you're getting into bed, or doors, or even noises. And normally affects them while they're sleeping at first. And that starts with night tremors and nightmares and kind of progresses up from there.
It was interesting also, like during the winter, you could see the beams and the separation of the rooms, and the snow would be melted off in the different rooms. You could see the snow on the beams. And then in her room, it was always covered in snow and ice on the roof of the A-frame. So that was interesting. And we also asked her why she called them Baby E and Mommy E. And she said, well, that's the sound they make. E. So that was pretty creepy as well.
No doubt. Did you move right away?
We did end up moving. My husband was really attached to the house. He didn't want to lose it, but we did end up losing it in foreclosure. And we moved into this house, which came with its own spirit. It's a guy who used to live here. His name is John, and he had passed away from emphysema. He hasn't been an issue, but with my kids being gifted, as well as myself and my husband, it's kind of like a beacon. So every now and then we'll get different entities in here. Sometimes they get stuck. Sometimes they just kind of move through. But the kids have had all kinds of experiences here. But John's pretty harmless. Like, you know, he doesn't bother anyone. And I think he just kind of hangs out in my room. But otherwise, it's the other spirits that come in sometimes that do cause a lot of chaos, attacking the animals, scaring the kids, things like that.
Have you guys asked John if he can help?
I actually haven't. But that's a good idea.
Definitely. If he's not being affected by any of the spirits that are coming in, then he's strong enough to ward them off. So all you gotta do is ask, really. And you never know. It could be a no, but usually in those cases, when they are attached to a building, that's their building. So they take ownership to that. And when a human or a spirit comes into that home, either if they like them, then great, but if they don't, then they can be harmful. So if they like you and want to protect you, then they can protect the home. Or at least help aid you in protecting the home.
Right. That's a good idea. I'll have to try that. Mooney in the chat room was saying, Craig, among other paranormal issues that I have been experiencing at my home is some sort of spirit that just started by bumping his bed, then moving across it with pressure like footsteps. The bump on the bed seems to be to get his attention or even to wake him. The steps or pressure imprints at first were at the bottom of the bed, then they started getting closer to the top. Now they come right up to his face on the side, whichever side he is sleeping on. He said, you mentioned earlier that it might be a poltergeist, but he's curious if it might be something more.
Well, you don't want anything more than a poltergeist, for sure. Let's say that, because they're one of the strongest entities out there. It's really hard to say if it's the poltergeist. Poltergeists are usually really harmful and they escalate really quickly. All I would do is look up St. Michael prayer and say when you go into your room and say you're not welcome. And it will work. There won't be anything on your bed, and you'll have a great sleep.
Yeah, it's interesting. After his mom had passed away, there was also activity going on there as well. I know one time he said that he had some dishes and stuff packed up in a box, and there was the brown paper or whatnot, and it actually like formed to what her face looked like.
Wow, that's amazing. So this also could just be his mom saying, "I'm trying to talk to you." So ask for clarification on who it is, and normally the first response you get in your head is the answer. So really ask mom, if that's her. And she should tell him. And if not, again, St. Michael prayer, then that will take care of the house. And you could always smudge. Smudging is a great tool to use for negative energies. They really don't do much for demonic cases. It's you have dirty walls, so you paint your walls. Well, the walls are still dirty. You just painted them, right? So that dirt is still under the paint. So if we look at that as energy, if you could walk into a room and like cut the tension with a knife, and you could, okay, wow, there's something going on in here. So that negative energy can attach itself to the walls and create a negative atmosphere. So smudging can definitely clear that negative energy out. It can help with, past loved ones or ones that need to cross over. Definitely sage is good for that. And really all well-being of just feeling more connected and positive energy is also good for that as well.
And with saging, a lot of people think it's a one and done thing, but you have to do it periodically. How often do you think a person should go through and sage?
I guess it depends on what they're going through. I've saged in my home 3 times in 4 years. So probably not a lot. But, I hear people doing it daily. I hear people doing it weekly. It really depends on how the energy is in the home and how they're feeling. If they walk in and feel an uneasiness, you can't smudge too much. But you definitely could smudge not enough. And it is sometimes a process of, one, the energy in the home being really thick, but also to cleanse the client as well. So you're kind of doing both, right? You're cleansing the home of the negative energies, or residual energy really is what it is, and the client.
Do you guys ever use salt in your cleansings? I've heard people say to make like a salt water that you can mop certain floors with, or pour down your drains. Yeah. A lot of people forget the drains. Sprinkle it in certain places. How exactly should a person use salt to help to cleanse their house?
Okay, so with salt, how I use it is on all walls, all door frames, all window frames, in closets. Just toss this stuff everywhere. Really, like you can't use too much. Normally I use the salt when I'm using holy water. That kind of goes hand in hand, where you salt the room and then do the holy water, where you're putting a cross, let's say on each side of the door frame, one on top, each bedpost, each wall, each window frame, the windows, and the doors both sides. I always go in clockwise. I do that with sage, I do that with holy water, and I do that with salt. They say with sage, that's what you're supposed to do. And I just kept doing it with the holy water and the salt as well. There's no rule for that, but for saging, that's what they say to is the best avenue. And also make sure windows are open so any negative energy can be released.
Shar said that she locked bad energy in her house with blessed salt, and she said she thinks she should have cleansed the house first before using the salt. Is that true?
I'm going to say yes. A cleansing prayer is, I guess, more of a ritual of you gaining your own power back. Like I would definitely systematically go throughout the house and push any negative energy out by using the salt. But I definitely do inside first, get them out, then do around the house. And if you want to do the property, you can as well. And it doesn't mean she can't go back and still do this. So go back, do a cleansing prayer, do the smudging, get the salt in there, push it out properly, and then be done with it.
Mooney was wondering, do you make your own holy water, or do you get it at a local Catholic church?
Good question. I've been told a couple of different things with this. In the beginning, I was under the impression that it had to be holy water from a church, and a priest had to bless it. And that's bullshit. All you have to do is ask God to bless it. It's about intent. So if I believe when I ask God He is going to bless that water, then He did. And that intention is way stronger than anything. So although, yes, I do get my water from a priest that has blessed it, there are times when I haven't had holy water and I've just asked God to bless it. Now, I also, when I'm doing this, I use St. Michael. He's one of my guides. I use Raphael. He's a healer. I use him as one of my guides. So when you're putting all those different pieces together, it makes for a pretty strong puzzle, and doesn't leave much room for anything to sneak by.
So do you use holy water in all of your cleansing, or are these for certain extending situations?
No, for cleansing prayers and cleansing homes, I do use the holy water. I use even the holy oils and salts.
All right, it says we missed that call. We had that issue last night as well. Let's see. And it's here. Okay, so we have area code 402. Who are we talking to?
Hi, Tessa. It's Sharon.
Hey, Sharon. How are you?
I'm okay. It's good to hear your voice. I heard that voice and I went, is that Tessa?
It's me.
It's just kind of it's kind of a fluke or one of those meant to be things.
Well, I'm so glad you
no
found
coincidence,
us.
right?
Right?
Huh?
I said, I'm so glad you found
No
us.
such thing.
I'm sorry? What did you say?
I said, yeah, there's no such thing as a coincidence.
Right, I know. It's kind of funny because, with Thanksgiving coming up and, missing people and stuff, and I thought, well, I'm going to call. You're here.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so anything that you have.
Okay. Anything
I don't know if you heard, I did move. I have moved. So I'm in a new space.
I'm
new
so
city.
glad. That was not a good place for you.
Yeah. I am too. I'm closer to my daughter and my grandkids, so.
Well, that's obviously the best move that you could have taken. I think that
Right.
was one of the main issues, that you weren't near your kids.
Right.
So obviously you must be feeling a hell of a lot better. And
Yeah.
how's the new house?
Well, a little apartment that I rent, so. But I'm
So
grateful.
it's a little different. So it's a little smaller than what you're used to?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, it's called an efficiency, yes. You know, what am I doing moving to the most expensive city in the country? But that's where my daughter is, so that's where I came.
Well, that's what kids do, eh?
Yeah.
Make us go all over the place.
Yeah.
So, is there any particular questions you want answers to?
Well, you know, there is one, but it's a negative deal.
Whatever.
And you're not going to believe this, Tessa, but I guess somebody from where I was made calls here, and I'm still having some issues with my dog. Most recently, somebody took her and shaved her. I don't know if you can pick up on that. Who's doing it? Why? When are they going to fall off the earth?
Wow. Oh. Is there... It has to be someone on your floor, and it definitely would be someone that... Have you had any incidents with people in the building?
I did with people that were living upstairs, but they apologized for the pounding and stuff, but I don't know. You know, it could be somebody, they could just drive over here, you know?
Yeah, but that's pretty.
I didn't know if you picked up anything or not.
The only thing I'd pick up is male, and he'd be under 30.
Okay.
So in his 20 to 30-ish.
Okay.
Brown hair.
Who's telling him to do this?
He's definitely mentally, definitely had a mental imbalance there somewhere. Because nobody does this, right? Nobody just goes around shaving other people's dogs.
Yeah, no, this is an intentional target because they did it when I was in Nebraska. So it's a different person, obviously, but same idea.
Wow.
You know,
okay.
Harassment.
Did you know who it was in Nebraska?
I wasn't sure. You know, I had some real shitty neighbors that had been trying to, you know, run me out, and they succeeded. You know, it wasn't my choice. I just left.
Right. Do you feel they could have come to where you are now?
I figured that most likely they just made a phone call and had, you know, there's assholes everywhere.
Yes,
and
there
people
is.
that want to make money, you know, there's some mean people that'll do anything for money. So that's kind of what I think.
Well, I definitely keep your eye open for this, because this that's crazy, right? Like,
I know it is.
Normal people don't do that kind of stuff.
I know.
So
fatal attraction sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know exactly, and I don't want it to continue. But
No.
I was just hoping that you saw it stopping.
Now, did someone steal your dog? Or
No, not. I don't think they didn't take her out of the building, but there's like a back room, it's a way to get in, and I don't know why the hell I didn't wake up. That's what I don't understand. So I guess I'm just not going to be able to take any of my muscle relaxants or anything from my back at night.
Well, I'd definitely be locking the doors, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And maybe change your locks, too.
Yeah, that's the next thing. I'm just so pissed. Tired of it.
What kind of dog is it?
She's my service dog, and people have been jealous of her and trying to take her from day one.
Okay. And what type of dog is she?
Oh, she's a shepherd.
She's a
Dutch shepherd. Mm-hmm.
And someone decided they thought that would be a good dog to go shave?
No, the harassment started against me and anything that I care about. I mean, they attacked my car, my house, all of that. And so that's why I moved. My cat was killed. I mean, they broke in, took my cat, bashed her head in. My vet wrote a letter to the police, but they didn't do anything. And so I moved way the hell across the country.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting this kind of shit. So obviously somebody with some money.
Yeah.
Like the bank that I, filed an affidavit against.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I would definitely, like Tessa said, change your locks and
I just
even make another report.
Right.
The more you report, the better.
Well. Anything positive? Can you pick up? I just need something positive.
Well, your daughter and your grandchildren are your positive.
Right. I guess I meant from my son. My son's passed. My mom and dad have passed. And Thanksgiving's always hard.
The hardest one. Yes. Okay. Well, they're all together. That's for sure. You know what? Ask them. So when you're off the show, lie down, close your eyes, picture them in your third eye, which is just above your eyebrows in the middle of your forehead, and ask them who's doing this. Because they know, right?
Yeah.
And talk to them. The first response you get in your head is them answering your question. So if you said, "Son, are you happy up there?" You're going to get a yes or a no. Now, I know you got a yes, because he is at peace. But that's your way of communicating with him on an ongoing basis. You don't need a medium for that.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but like, for instance, not long after my son was killed, my priest was trying to, we were holding hands and he was trying to pray with us so we could see him, but I could not see him. And my priest said it's because of all the pain. I've just got so much pain still. Yes. So it's not as easy for me to be able to do what you're saying.
Okay.
Because there's so much emotion there, and that's why I'm asking you.
All right. Yes, when there is lots of of pain still, and when you haven't been able to grieve properly, it does make it a lot harder to see them and hear them. What was one thing that you and your son did all the time together? So something that if you saw it, you would know it's him.
Oh, man.
It could be a car, it could be a bird, it could be a rock, it could be anything.
Right. All three of those things are something special that I did with him that you just
heard.
Right. All three of them.
Well, there you go. So what bird is the one that you guys used to watch?
The last rescue we did together was a seagull in the middle of Nebraska.
All right.
A seagull from New York was he found in the backyard, the broken wing. So I rehabbed it. Awesome.
That's amazing. So you're going to have a seagull.
I saw the seagull at the cemetery. I saw it circled. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
and when he was little, yeah. When he was little, he saw, I don't know where he got this because he was only like 4, 5 maybe. And we were driving, and an eagle was flying in a circle above the car, but high up. And he looked at it, and he said, "Look, Mommy, the circle of life." And I'm like,
wow.
Where's that coming from? Yeah, I didn't talk about that.
Right. Well, that's definitely how he's going to communicate with you.
I have so much pain about his death because he was murdered. And it was the one night I wasn't home. And I go round and round that if I had just gone home, I could have stopped it.
No, because they would have killed them anyways. It wouldn't have mattered if it was Monday or Friday or Wednesday. They just would have waited. Or they just would have killed you too. Right? Like,
yeah.
At that point, what can you do?
Yeah.
And, maybe there's a reason why you weren't there. Right? Like, you do have your daughter, you have your grandchildren.
Yeah, but, oh, God, it would have been so much better if I had died instead of him. And, just like Tessa's kids being gifted, my son was all over the top gifted, all right, his whole life.
Right.
And when he was little, though, young, he did tell me about this nightmare where people came in and they shot him. And that's exactly how he was killed, years later. So it was like a premonition. But I'm just like, oh, no, honey, that's not going to happen. Yeah, right. And then there were other times that he'd come up to me and he'd say, "Would you die for me?" And I said, "Well, sure, of course I would." And then I didn't.
Well, that's your grief and your fear kind of playing on you. You couldn't have done anything. If these guys were hell bent on doing this. And although it's very painful to lose a child, we have to believe it's for a higher good. And
I do know that he's happy. I know he's happy where he is.
Right.
I know that. He came to my mother. My mother was also very gifted. He came to her. And she yelled at him and said, "Come back. We want you back." And he said he didn't want to. Now, I was pretty pissed when I heard that. But it also gave me comfort because then I knew he was happy.
Would you come back? I know when I go, thank you. I'm going to be, I'll be in bliss,
Yeah.
No more pain,
more that was comforting.
sorrow.
Yeah, it was comforting to know. He said that he told my daughter that you can't, the words he used was, you can't believe the love.
Right.
So, that's comforting for me. But I still feel like I could have stopped it.
No, you couldn't. And that's going to be something you're going to fight with forever, right?
Yeah.
You just got to let it go. And, yes, it's easier said than done.
Right.
But there are other parents out there that have gone through the exact same thing you have. And maybe that's where you need to reach out to be able to talk to people that have gone through the exact same thing. And
I don't know about that.
Together.
Yeah.
Well,
listen, I do, if I see a parent that has lost a child, I do offer, what I can, but I cannot dwell in, because what's happened to my son is so horrific. I can't dwell in it. It's just so bad.
No, but it's you're dealing with it anyways because you're thinking about it all the time. So
no, I'm not. No, I'm not anymore. Okay. No, okay. I don't think about how he died all the time.
That's good.
I think about him,
right? And
I think about missing him and wishing he was here. But I don't think about how he died all the time because.
Okay. Then just ask for him to come by. He'll fly by, man. I bet you tomorrow you see a seagull, and I want you to call Tessa back next time she's on air, and and you tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
All right.
Actually, the first time, because it was a Benjamin Franklin gull, and they're not common, so it's not you don't see. He had a black head, this seagull. Okay. And, who the hell, I happen to have worked in a wild seabird sanctuary when I was younger, because that's what my deal was animals.
Okay.
And so I probably, number one, my son didn't even believe me when I told him it was a seagull. And number two, I had never seen a seagull that looked like that. But when I came out to New York, that's where I saw them. They were, at Coney Island. They have a black head, and they're called Benjamin Franklin gulls.
Okay.
So I'm in New York. I might see one. It's awful cold here.
Right?
Yes. It's getting cold here, too. Yes. Yes. Winter is coming.
Winter is upon us. On that note, you guys, we do have to go to our first musical break. So our listeners don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Spiral left upon my chest. I'll attest, I don't really wanna forget to forget you. Taught me how to turn a blind eye. I showed you how to keep your shoulder cold. No one walked away without a scar. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. You taught me how to turn a blind eye. I showed you how to keep a shoulder cold. No one walked away without a scar. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. I've been digging through the pieces. Your heart is out of reach, but objects may seem nearer through this rippled mirror. Talking on pins and needles, every word through a microscope. You keep stomping down on the ground while I've been stuck on this tightrope. I just wanna say what I wanna say without your sentence. I'm not willing to do the time when I'm innocent, and I'm innocent. Talking on pins and needles. Talking on pins and needles. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. Walked on my share of thin ice with your blowtorch at my feet. You won't ever see me beg, so take this tongue off your leash. I'm gonna say what I wanna say, don't need permission. Interpret it how you want, it's my decision. Talking on pins and needles. Talking on pins and needles. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. Dancing on shattered glass, kicking the pieces all around. My safety has been broken, this is now a hunting ground. Talking on pins and needles. Talking on pins and needles. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. Better the devil, you know. Better the devil, you know. Better the devil, you know. Better the devil, you know.
So that is Canadian high school phenom Michaela Hay with Mirror, Pins and Needles, and Devil You Know. And thank you so much, Quest, for providing us with these artists, because they're really amazing, and I really do enjoy our musical breaks. I was over here dancing while Craig and Shar were talking. But welcome back, Craig, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight and sharing your gifts with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess right now you and Sharon are about to do a healing?
Yes, basically I'm going to renew her energy. So we're going to push out the old energy and replace it with the universal energy. Now, this has to do with Reiki. This has to do with energy work. So I'll ask you to lie down. Are you comfortable?
Yeah. Ow. See, I need it. It's my back.
Okay. So I'm going to start at the top of your head. You're going to feel the heat of my hands, or tingling, or both. When you feel me, tell me. And then we can build up your crown chakra. Do you know your chakras?
Not really.
Okay. So I will just kind of go through it with you, and just tell me when that area is full, and then we'll drop it down to your next chakra. Okay?
Yeah. I hope I'm not so blocked that I can't.
Sometimes with medication that can happen.
Yeah.
But not usually. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to look through the top of your head and see those colors swirling around. The blue, the yellow, the gold, the white. Do you see those colors?
I imagine them. I don't.
Okay. So no, but that's what I'm meaning.
Yeah.
When you're looking through your third eye, you feel. We're told that's our imagination, right?
Okay.
So when we close our eyes and we're thinking about something, you can see it through your third eye.
And she should have her eyes closed right now, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So, see those colors spinning around. Can you feel the warmth? Can you feel the warmth of those colors?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't feel it.
Okay. It's okay. I'm putting my hands on top of your head. Tell me when you feel that.
Oh, I do feel a pressure.
Okay. Let that pressure build up. Let that build up. Let that warmth build up. Let that light go into the top of your head. Can you feel those colors now?
You know, I don't know. I guess not.
Do you feel any energy?
I'm supposed to feel.
Are you feeling the pressure still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I am feeling more of a tingling,
Okay.
but it's not just my head. It's
Don't get ahead of yourself, okay?
listen, I'm not trying.
All right. Okay, so let's drop that tingling down to your third eye, which is just above your eyebrows in the middle of your forehead.
Okay.
Drop that down. Now, while you're dropping that down, the colors are dropping down. So they're swirling. They filled up to the crown chakra. They're now into your third eye chakra. And they're building up. Tell me when you feel that area is full.
I think it is.
Okay. Then drop that tingling feeling down to your throat chakra. Again, that red, yellow, gold, the white energy swirling, the loving energy, the universal energy. We are all energy. We just need to be on the right frequency. Let that tingling build up and drop down into your throat chakra. When you feel that you're full, tell me.
I don't feel it there.
Where do you feel it?
My head and my arms, my back.
Okay.
But I don't feel anything on my throat.
Your throat chakra blocked, and that's because you've had a problem with voicing your concerns.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of
That
not
makes
being
sense.
heard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's just twirl your throat chakra a bit here. And let's allow that energy to go there and break through that barrier. I want that whole warmth and that tingling to enter the top of your head, down to your third eye, into your throat chakra.
Okay, I feel it there.
Okay. Now drop it down to your heart chakra. Now your heart chakra is your heart. Again, you're seeing the lights, the yellow, the white, the gold, the blue, the purple, the green. Swirling, bringing that energy down into your heart chakra. When that's full, tell me.
I feel it there. Okay.
Okay? Now I want you to drop it down to your sternum, which is just below your chest plate. So that little bone there, just above your ribs, or below the ribs there. Let that tingling, let that energy flow down through your chakras into your sternum. That golden light, the warmth, the tingling, renewing your energy as we go. Pushing out all the old and negative energy out your body, through your feet. When that's built up and you feel it, let me know.
I can feel it.
Okay. Now I want you to drop it down to your sacral chakra. And this is right below your belly button. Now this has to do with your safety. This has to do with survival. This has to do with love. This has to do with a woman's womb. Life-giving. And again, allow those energies, those lights, come through the top of your head, into your third eye, into your throat, into your heart, into your sternum, and now into your sacral. Do you feel it there?
I don't know.
Not yet. That's
No.
okay. It doesn't always go to the same time or the same.
I can tell you
So-
right now, though. I can tell you this. I'm getting a lot of resistance. And
Yes.
supernatural resistance against this. So you must be
Oh.
doing something right.
I'm not too worried about them. Well,
Oh, I'm not either.
Yeah. So let that build. Let that energy build up in you. It's filling you, every part of your body. It's pushing out all that negative energy and all the negative thoughts, feelings, pain, all the hurt. Breathe in through your
Okay.
nose, out your
Yeah.
mouth. Don't forget to
Okay.
breathe.
Yeah, I feel it strong
All right.
now.
All right. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Okay, now I want you to drop it to your root chakra. And your root chakra would be either your tailbone or
Yeah, it's there.
okay, so let that build. I want you to feel that energy all over. So now I want you to push that energy down to your kneecaps.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to run my fingers from your kneecaps down to your feet. Can you feel that?
No.
Okay. You will. Just running my hands down your kneecaps into your feet. Feel that energy flow. Breathe in through your nose, out your mouth. Allow that energy to build.
Yeah, I think it's building because my leg's cramping. So,
Okay? Now I want you to push that energy right down to your feet.
yeah, it's there.
Okay? Now I want you to imagine your feet are connected to the ground.
What?
I want you to imagine your feet are connected to the ground,
Okay.
the dirt,
Okay.
the roots of the trees.
Okay.
Are you connected to the roots?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to imagine that you have energy coming out the top of your head, your hands, and out your feet. I want you to be one big glowing ball of energy and just push that energy out. Out your hands, out your feet.
Yeah, I am.
I want you now to take that energy, that light, the blues, the white, the gold energy, and I want you to expand that to your living room or wherever you are. Breathe in through your nose, out your mouth. Expand that light and that energy to your whole apartment. There's not a dark spot in that apartment because you have blasted it full of light. Can you feel that ball of energy?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, continue breathing. You're going to need to drink lots of water. You're going to get tired.
Yeah.
You're going to get really tired. And you are cleansed, and now your apartment is as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the patience of the audience.
No worries.
I
I'm
hope
so
they
glad
enjoyed it as well.
that Craig was able to help you, for sure. And I hope your issues get resolved. I hope they get better. Hopefully these people lose interest and can leave you guys alone.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
All right. Well,
listen,
thank you very much.
Yeah, I better let you go. I'll listen.
Thanks so much, Shar, and I'm so glad you called in, and I'm so glad you found us.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so our next caller is Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Well, I'm all right. I finally got the nerve to ask them. My mother passed away earlier this year, back in May. And before that, her boyfriend left us. I am curious. I'm finally starting to get back into the groove of things and doing my own stuff now. Starting to. My question is, what will happen? What will happen with me between my mother spiritually, even though she's dead? Because I'm sure she, even after death, she still has her ex on her mind. He really broke her heart.
No, she does not. There is no pain up there. There is no remorse up there. There is no hurt up there. There is no anger up there. There's forgiveness and love.
Wow.
So she's not angry. She don't care. She wants him to have the best life possible and to come to heaven with her. Like, really, there's no hatred, there's no sorrow, there's no heartbroken, there's none of that up there. It's pure love.
This is pretty cool. It took me like 6 months almost to start to physically get my health to get back. Grief seems to mess you up physically.
It does. So I want you to look up some medication. and that will really help you.
Okay.
Now, if you've never been one to listen to meditation, I can understand why. A lot of people really, in the beginning, don't know why they would listen to that kind of stuff. But once you do, it opens everything up and allows you to be able to deal with things with a more clear mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's many different types of meditation. So find something that works for you. If you go to, let's see if we got this. Actually, I'll just look up on my phone here. So if you check up on binary beats, so if you go to YouTube and go up to binary beats,
Mm-hmm.
and let me just get the exact number for you, and that way you won't have to really search for much. Where's...
Okay, I'm on YouTube. I'll go bookmark this.
Okay, just a second here. Okay, so if you go to... Sorry, I'm just trying to track it down here. I got so much stuff going on my phone here. Sorry. I'm having to go through the messages here to find it. There we go. Right here. Okay, so we are looking for grief. So grief is third eye, crown, binary meditation, detox, love, joy, desire, anger, fear, and grief. So if you go to, you download, well, you can go through YouTube, 75 hertz.
75 hertz?
Yep. Listen to that and you'll feel better. Guaranteed.
That don't bother me. The only waves that cause me to go into self-defense mode are theta waves.
Yes, this ain't beta waves.
Yeah. But 75 I listened to before. That's so soothing.
All right. Well, then you listen to that because that will help you grieve and that will help you deal with that.
Yeah.
And you could also listen to 540, which is joy. There's so many. I have over 50 here that I've been able to track down. I've done extensive research in this to almost pick every part of the body that needs healing. So that's what I would suggest, is 75 hertz. And don't worry, your mom is not sad. She's not upset. She's not thinking anything but love. And she's definitely not wasting it on an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband. She'd be focused with you.
You know what's weird? You know how they say that you have a time lapse between death and them contacting you again? I never had that break in contact.
Okay. Ask.
What?
Like, she probably tried to contact you, you just haven't noticed.
Yeah, I never had a break yet. Within a week, she threw something in our kitchen to let me know she was there.
All right.
It was. This part of the reason why I'm regrouping because I feel that she didn't abandon me at all.
No, I think she was
No.
just letting you know that she was there, and I think that actually happened when we were on the after party. There was that big old bang, and you said that something happened to the dishes in the kitchen.
Yeah, we had a big old iron skillet like grill. It was thrown all the way out to our fridge.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, I
Too
think
heavy.
she was just letting you know that she's there, and I do feel like she's watching over you quite a bit. I think
definitely.
if there's anything going on as far as her worries or where she's directing her energy, it's for you, because you are her son, and she does love you and care about you and does worry
Yes.
about you. But
Yeah, it seems
Yes.
like her old caregivers in this life, when she was sick, they give me a lot of respect because I cared for her
Well, of
before she
course.
died. Her old doctors,
Yep.
they were worried about my own wealth. They were worried about my welfare after she died
Yep.
because I can't drive or do anything like that. So they were worried if I have a place to
To get around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've been able to figure that out, right?
Yeah, I either Uber or I just call the clinic to get me a ride to my appointments.
Well, that works. Perfect.
Yeah,
So it does work out.
yeah, I'm very thankful for people like you that help us learn to heal.
My pleasure. It's I really enjoy it.
I enjoy this type of work too. I've been in the paranormal since 2003.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting field of work for sure.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about myself through this field, and Tessa can attest to that, how much I've grown.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
And I've talked to you before, and you have grown your own way too.
Ah, maybe my belly.
Mine too. Mine too. Thanksgiving's gonna kill me.
gonna send you over the edge.
Yeah. Well, I wish you guys a blessed night.
Thank you. You as well. I'm sure I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I'll talk to you on the after show. I'll talk to you in a little while.
All right.
Good night, Christopher.
Bye.
Thanks for calling in.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye. We have a caller that I just clicked on. Man, Skype didn't update, and hold on, I'm probably muted. Nope, I'm not. Good. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Let me see if I can call this number. I might have to hang up on you, call them, and then add you back in, but we'll see if I can add them on really quick. Okay. So I'm going to call these guys, and then I'm going to add you into the call, okay?
Okay.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Let's try that one again.
Been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 2566471
Okay. Let's try that again.
I'm here. That didn't work.
Nope. I thought it, I kept calling and it went directly to voicemail, and then they try to call back again, but okay, they're trying again. So hold on. Hopefully this works. Skype, what have you done?
Who is it?
It's a 256 area code. Let me try them again really quick.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Yeah, automatically to the voicemail again. I don't get it. Really weird. So when you do healings and such, like, how do you get that energy off of you, basically? How do you keep from holding that?
Okay. Well, in the beginning, I used my own energy. I really didn't understand the concept of using the universal energy and using me as just a conduit or a connection. Or a vessel. So I would get very tired afterwards. With your sister, I would take naps afterwards. So I was very tired. Now, I'm not using my energy. I'm using the universal energy, which has kind of made me even more, it made me stronger. Because I'm using, again, the universal energy and I'm not having to use mine. So now I don't get tired. I can pretty much do it whenever I want to. And I don't have to worry about, being tired or having to take a nap afterwards. Because I used to take 2-hour naps after every healing I would do. Which, quite draining. It really is. Or at least it was.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to answer this call, and then I'm going to add you, okay? Hello?
Hi. I was calling about the reading.
Okay, who are we speaking with?
Janice.
Hi, Janice. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Skype did an update, so there's been some changes, but I'm adding Craig in really quick because I could not answer your call. And I tried to call you back, so I hopefully he gets this, and he'll pop in here. And there he is. Hey, Craig.
Hello. Hello.
We have Janice on the line.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I am great. Do you have any questions?
Well, not exactly, I don't guess. I was just going to see what you could tell me.
Okay. Well, there is a question.
Okay.
So what is it? What is it?
I guess romance. When am I going to meet anybody? Yes.
I don't see you meeting anyone in the near future. I don't know if it will be the same kind of relationship you're looking for, but it will be a relationship where you're both content with what you have, if that makes sense.
Okay.
What are you doing for work?
I'm a waitress.
You're a waitress. Okay.
Yes.
You'll definitely meet him through work, but I believe it'll be someone coming into the restaurant, not a coworker. It'll be in the spring.
Okay.
And I just want you to give it a chance. So, okay, I'm seeing a heavy set guy. I would say 5'11", 200 pounds, mid-40s to late 40s. And he's going to have a good energy about him that you're going to find refreshing.
Okay.
And I see that in the springtime. So let's say May.
Okay.
That's what I see. And it's going to be in the corner table.
Okay.
So just remember those few things there, and when that opportunity comes, sit back down at the table.
Okay.
Just put your notebook down, sit down at the table, and start talking to him.
Okay.
Any other questions?
My mom is sick. How long do you see for her?
I would rather see a picture of her to give you an exact time frame. Message me after and send me her picture, and I'll tell you what's wrong with her and how things are going to transpire.
Okay.
So a lot easier to see those health issues and to be able to read that with a picture.
Okay.
All right? And I'm under Craig S. Leafloor, Leafloor. And just send me a picture with her, and I'll take care of it through Messenger with you.
And the middle initial is an S.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yes, that sounds fair.
All right.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
No worries. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah.
It was so great hearing from you.
All right, thanks. You have a good evening.
You
All
too.
right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
When I'm doing predictions or when I'm seeing people's health issues, I really need a picture to kind of scan that body. To do that through a third party is really, really difficult. If I had her picture, I could read her, but not necessarily the mom.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that through a third party, because when you were doing the session with Shar, I could feel the warmth on the top of my head and moving through. And it was really interesting you were doing it for her, but I was kind of feeling the effects, I guess, because I was on with you guys, or I don't know exactly how that works, but it was really interesting.
I noticed you were enjoying it, yes.
Well, on that
Yeah.
note, we do have to go to our second musical break. We are joined by Craig Leafloor, and you can call us at 1-970-335-9596. I'll try to add you in. If not, I'll just answer your call and then add Craig in as we did this last time with Janice. So on this musical break, we have Fluid with I Love It and Fred Johnson III with Sugar and After Dark. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
I love it. Said I love it. I love it. Keep an extendo in my right hand, big band in my left hand. I'm ballin', making buckets back to back like I was Stephan. Better yet, I'm Dale Jackson, so don't treat me like the next man. And I'm kind of a real big deal, so don't be out here second guessing. Anyway, I make my pay and live this California lifestyle. Sunshine, loud packs, and chicks that love to get wild. That's how we do it every day. Slipping, sliding through the traffic on a mission for the day. Clearing marks about my way. Really got no time for y'all today. And all the craziness y'all talk, but never get your story straight. See me out here living great. I don't give a about all that hate. And when it comes to kicking game, I give you all that you can take. Trying to do it big, got no complaints. Every morning eating steak. And say I'm wrong for showing out, but I'ma do it anyway. Sussing thing ain't nothing, bitch, cause I can do it any day. And it don't matter where I go, I always represent the yay. I'm so in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now. Boppers used to hate me, now they tell me I'm they tight now. Swagger through the roof, got everybody on my height now. So in love with this lifestyle. And I love it, and I love it, and I love it. So in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now. See me, I'm out here getting it and loving how I live. Best believe if I do something, I'm a stupid, do it big. And this hustling is my gig, so don't you ask me what I stand for. Stacking while I'm macking, trying to earn myself a couple Lambos. Yeah, you know them toys for them big boys. Emperor of sorts and all you other players decoys. Meaning you're not the real deal. Keep an appetite for dollars that I never miss a meal. All you suckers need to chill. I'm just trying to stack a meal and pull the baddest bras around and let show they sex appeal. Little bit of Netflix, then we chill. Lose them clothes, keep on them heels. Working like a 9 to 5 and go right back to chasing skrill. I bring that real, never that phony. BS, y'all be stressing, put it down just like an OG. Perform these cookies, take flight. Some of y'all just out here acting, I'm a boss in real life. I'm so in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now. Boppers used to hate me, now they tell me I'm they tight now. Swagger through the roof, got everybody on my height now. So in love with this lifestyle. And I love it, and I love it, and I love it. So in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now. Keep it more 100 than a C note. Hall of Fame spitting, representing with these pimp quotes. Don't try to front, you know this shit's dope. Question is, will I ever fail? My answer is no. I make this hustling look amazing. Put it down doper than a blunt of purple hazing. Spicy on the mic, I bring the fire like a Cajun. Scoville's making haters sweat when I be blazing. Leaning to the side, haters everywhere. Yeah, I hear them talking, but they simply wasting air. Can't understand the reason that they stay in my affairs. But I'm major with my movements, getting money everywhere. I'm so in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now. Boppers used to hate me, now they tell me I'm they tight now. Swagger through the roof, got everybody on my height now. So in love with this lifestyle. And I love it, and I love it, and I love it. So in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now. So in love with this lifestyle. And I love it, and I love it. So in love with this lifestyle. Anything I want, I say the word, I get it right now.
Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. The tension's overbearing. Wondering, are you coming back home again? to inspire fondness with love. Where did our love go wrong? My sugar. Why did I make you cry? Whispers flow through my mind when I think about you. That warm feeling in me. My heart sings a sad song and just melts away. Please look into my eyes, my sugar. There's life in out there. Until the sun doesn't shine anymore, I'll be there. When time is a memory, I'll know this love. You will always be the one, my sugar. The feeling is so strong. Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. Where did our love go wrong, my sugar? My driver pulls up in my limousine, ready to take me anywhere I want to be. I said, I want to go. Take me to a college scene. I like to go and dance, have drinks, and hunt the perfect date. Yeah. Living at the dark, I search lonely streets to find hidden shadows in the dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Secret homicides arranged in a series of pursuits. No matter what I say, after dark, I gave her face because she had the range. I knew she was the one that never could go home again. Plastic life by limo seats. I don't know why I can't control this urge to hurt again. Yeah. Living at the dark, I search lonely streets to find hidden shadows in the dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Chasing sinister, murder forever after. No matter what I say, after dark. Feeling ran to fragmented feel. Behind a place with days under summer. it's no murder forever after. It doesn't matter what I say. Mood and fatal, lacking the hint of conscience. No matter what I say, after dark.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we are joined by Craig Leafloor, who is a medium empath. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, Craig. I'm so glad that you're here tonight and that you've helped a couple of our listeners.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much. Thanks.
So if you guys would like to call in for a free reading, feel free to call at 1-970-335-9596. That's 1-970-335-9596. But until then, we got a couple different things we want to talk about. Astral travel, binary beats. And I was thinking about that earlier when you had mentioned it. Did you know that Phil Collins actually had a song
Yes.
that had
Yes.
binary beats in it?
Yes. In the heat of the night.
In the Air Tonight, I think it is.
Oh, air, yes. Yes, and he uses 432 and 528.
So
and
what
that's
exactly
why
does
that
that do?
song. 432 is a chakra cleansing type sound. It's great for meditating. It's great for really everything. The 528 is more of a healing, detoxification, that type of stuff. Both sounds will make you feel uplifted, just like that song does. It resonates with everyone in the world, and we just can't get enough of that song, you know. So, and that's really, that was one of the first things I researched was different songs, and that was the one that popped up right away.
Yes, no wonder that song was so big and everybody just kind of connected with it.
Yeah. So with that, I started studying kind of every part of the body and every chakra, what beats work with which chakra. And then I went to organs, and then I went into like bloodstream, high blood pressure, heart attacks, cancer. Like cancer is cured by 1,000 hertz.
Right.
And 350,000 hertz. Leukemia cells are destroyed by 40 hertz. Destroyed. They just destroy. They break down and they burst. And a leukemia cell is a circle. So if you're looking under a microscope, you can see it literally just breaks up and turns into nothing. And this is something they've been trying to repress for forever, but sounds do heal us.
Right.
And we just need to be on the right frequency. And once we have that proper frequency, we can heal ourselves.
Well, we do have, and I don't even know what happened just then. Hold on one second. We do have a call from a 970 area code.
It's kind of hitting it twice, you know, with energy and with sound.
It's very interesting how sounds and different vibrations do affect our body, and stress too. Like, stress is toxic and it causes so many issues. But we did have a call coming from an area code 970. I'm going to call that number back really quick, and then add you to the call like we did last time.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes again. Hello, thanks so much for calling. Who are we talking to?
Tony.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing really good. And I recognize your voice. Hold on one second. Let me add Craig back on the call. Skype did an update, and so everything's all cattywampus. But it's good to hear your voice, big brother.
Thank you. You as well. How did you know it was me?
'Cause I recognize your voice.
That's not a good thing.
Oh, no.
I was supposed to be in Cognate, and maybe I should have done talk like this.
That's right. There you go. So we got Craig back on the line. Did you have a question for Craig tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to see, what are you doing tonight? Are we still doing the
readings?
The
and
readings?
Such? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a question?
I do. I want to see what you see in my future.
Okay. As in?
As far as in health, just generalize in life.
Okay. All right. Work-wise, I believe you are where you want to be. Like, you like doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think family-wise, you have a family, and that area of your life will be very good and happy. Health-wise, I would like to see a picture, and that would make things a lot easier for me. It's easier to scan the body, is kind of how I put it, and then I'm able to see different health issues, and or health issues that might come up in the future as well. So without seeing you, or without seeing a picture, that one's really hard.
Okay. What about happiness? What do you see? What can you tell me?
Well, I think your happiness, you're very skeptic. So that kind of keeps you with a wall up, which is kind of stopping you from reaching your full potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you dealt with some of the past issues when you were a child, that's kind of what's giving you that brick wall?
Like what? What do you see?
I don't know if you didn't. Your relationship with your parents, were you just raised by your mom?
No.
So you're both.
Oh yeah, I had both mother and father.
Okay. And well, where do you get this? Like, someone hurt you, obviously, for you to have these walls up.
Had a very, very, probably the most loving and caring father in the world. He was like my hero.
Okay.
And he did everything possible, everything and anything.
And your mom?
And she was about the same. She spoiled me rotten as well.
That's awesome. So why are you so pessimistic?
Because I don't trust anything unless I see it. Reality.
Okay. Right. So
because I've seen a lot of ugly things and things people would never probably believe I've seen or heard.
Okay. With people or with spirits?
Spirits and people, and
so
actually just a little bit of both.
Okay. So if not everybody can see spirits, right?
No. Not everybody could hear them either.
Right. But you're able to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the people that you're saying that you only believe what you see or you hear or you know, right?
Right.
It's sort of the same thing for the people that haven't seen a spirit are saying, there's no way there's spirits, ghosts aren't real. Right? So they have their wall up because they just don't know. But you do. But there's still a wall up. So why is there still a wall up?
Protection, I guess.
From what?
From what I've seen. From what I've heard. From what they've done.
Excuse me. So, so your wall's not up because you don't want to listen or learn. It's up because of safety.
Right.
Okay. Do you feel that you're still affected by spirits?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can I ask what religion you are in?
Kind of Catholic, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
You'd have to go in order to be, but that's what I'm supposed to be.
Okay. Do you believe?
In God, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Say the St. Michael prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And that will help you. That will ward off anything negative that will keep it away. And it has no choice but to listen. So when I was involved in an exorcism, we used the St. Michael prayer.
Okay.
So something so serious, something that could have killed the client, we used the St. Michael prayer to help. So it's a very strong prayer, and it works. So if you're feeling that you're still being affected by spirits, then I would definitely suggest that prayer. And if you're finding it, if you're finding it in your home, then I would do a cleansing prayer, sage it, salt it, and say the St. Michael prayer. Tell them they're not welcome, they're not wanted, and they must listen. And they must. And they have to because God said so.
Right.
Now, if you believe what you're saying, then it will work.
Well, yeah, you have to believe in order for it to work.
Yeah. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay, and it's not so much now, just now I'm actually at peace. Just a lot of things that happened when I was younger.
Yeah.
Kind of just really haunt me still.
Okay. That's partially that PTSD, right? So, excuse me. Really, we would need to go through what you went through, and then I'd be able to help you more. When it comes down to spirits or entities or negative energy, anything like that, I kind of throw my psychic ability out the window because the more I know, the more I can affect whatever I'm dealing with. Right. So, when I'm going into a serious demonic case, once I make my predictions, I want to know everything about that place.
And Craig, I did send you a picture of Anthony if you wanted to look at that.
Did you?
Yes. It's on your Messenger as well as in Skype in the little message box there.
Okay.
Bad girl.
Yes, she is.
That's my girl with all her heart and soul.
So, you were hurt when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the wall, that's why your physique was all to be bigger, scarier, meaner, stronger, and kind of protect yourself, right?
No,
and
it's just because I look good.
You look good, eh? That's right. Yeah.
No, that's just genetics.
That's just genetics.
Yeah. Just had the weird stuff happen when I was a child. They cut my hair and would put it in little boxes and chant over it.
Wow.
Okay.
It was a babysitter, I believe, from what I can remember.
That brought in negative energies.
Right. Uh-huh. I even know her name and everything. And my parents tell me that I never stayed with anybody, which other people tell me we used to stay with other people.
Right.
It's just odd.
That's probably your mom and dad trying to get you to forget.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And they
Yes,
see
I
that
think so.
they see that this has affected you tremendously, right? You're still talking about it, so it's definitely something that you still remember for sure. So
Yes, and just trying to get it out of my mind. If I could understand it more, I guess I could be done with it.
right. Well, are you willing to tell me what happened?
Just they would cut my hair and chant, and she'd tell me that I was gonna be hers. And then I had seen where they would chant over the fire and talk and stuff. And there was probably about 7 ladies.
So that would either be witches or
Was she Spanish?
Or voodoo.
I don't know if they were. I would assume they were Spanish, Indian, either Spanish or Indian, Native. How I am part Native.
Say that's none of that Native.
So I really don't know what they were. All we could hear were the chants.
And
they were loud.
Do you remember the chants?
No, no. I was trying to understand them and hear them. We could hear them. We could see the fire and all that stuff, but yeah, I don't remember them.
Okay. So I would ask for your.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Ask your guides to clarify, and maybe they'll give you some more clarity. But at the end of the day, it's going to be really hard to get the proper answer you're looking for. Because you're looking for why, who, what, when, where, and why, really, right? And without...
Actually, if I just understood it a little more, maybe I could just drop it.
I highly doubt you can.
Yeah. And then there was... Right. Because it's not going to ever be clear enough.
Right, exactly.
Drop it.
Right. The more you know, the more you're going to want to know.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there was another time I was with a few girls, and then I came home, got a phone call, was talking to some lady on the phone. She was telling me to go to a certain motel, gave me the number, and I was telling my dad, wow, look at this. This is weird. This girl is crazy. So he got on the phone and he started talking to her. And then my dad just laughed and he's like, I don't know what the deal is with this one, but it's weird. And I told her she told me the same thing over again after I got back on the phone. To go to a certain room, she'd want to see me, if I wanted her to go and see her because she was waiting for me, whatever. As soon as I hung up the phone, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Llorona. And as soon as I hung up the phone, she immediately came to my head.
Came to your head?
Yes, she was in my head. She was talking and crying and everything. And I was so scared I slept in between my parents for about 3 days. But that was instantly. As I hung up the phone, she automatically was in my head. And no one could hear her.
Okay. Well, that's black magic. I'd almost say voodoo or
Santeria.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really well versed in that type of occult or rituals, but I know they're very strong, and the more you believe them, the more stronger they get.
Yeah. You need to not believe in it and believe they have no power over you.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's what happened a long time ago.
Right.
And it's odd that I was just always trying to make sense of it.
You're not going to be able to. You really aren't. It's like for children that get abused, they want to know why, or they want to know how they could do that, or blah, blah, blah.
But you can't understand it because you're not sick like
there's
that.
No answer.
Yeah.
There's no proper answer to that. They're just like sick people.
Right.
And same with spirits. It could have been your home. It could have been the land. It could have been a babysitter. It could have been all three. It could be a portal. It could. Yeah. There's just so many different things it actually could be.
The thing is, I've always seen weird stuff since I was a kid.
Okay. So what?
I used to see 4-foot and 5-foot owls.
Wow.
Okay, that's God. I was just watching.
And they were real.
Yeah.
They were real.
I'll try and look that up.
I've seen people change from a human into an owl and be on a tree.
That's shapeshifters, yeah.
Skinwalker?
And you shoot them.
Yeah.
Next morning, it's somebody got shot.
Right. Like a harbinger of death, like trying to, I don't know. A lot of times when you see an owl, it's a sign of something not so good. A lot of times people will see one, and then after that, something really bad happens. Like you said, somebody got shot the next day.
Oh, no, we shot it.
Oh,
and
you got
the
shot.
Next day, there was a person that was shot.
So you shot the owl, and then it was a person?
The following day, but we didn't know that.
Right.
Until about a month later.
Wow.
That's crazy. They were talking about the Mothman a lot in Salem, and how it looked like an owl, but also looked like a human. And it's 50-50 if it causes the negativity or it warns people of the negativity about to happen.
Right. But
But
skinwalkers are interesting. I don't know what you've heard, Anthony, but for me, I was told that you have to take a life to be one, whether it's intentionally or when you're born, when your mother dies. That could be another way of that happening. So there's good ones and bad ones. So whatever happened with that person?
Uh-huh. I never knew after that whether they still lived or didn't. I know it wasn't fatal.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's good.
And I know we've seen I myself, now thinking just all the weird things I've seen through life. Like going hunting, we had owls and black crows following us.
Okay, I'd almost say that's land.
Land?
Yes.
How
But
do you
that's
mean?
that's a lot of negative. That's too powerful. I'd say spirit animals. Let's just go with that way of talking about them. And both can be very negative, right?
And we went to shoot them, and we had plenty of ammo. I even had ammo in my pocket. When we went to go shoot them, there was no ammo in any of our rifles.
Oh, wow.
That's wild.
I heard that if you put your bullets in ashes, that it's supposed to work against skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look this stuff up, eh?
Yeah,
That's
it's just like,
Give me some homework.
yeah, where you live, just the different things that you hear.
Yes, and then if you go hunting, make sure you put a little ash on yourself.
Okay.
Yep.
It helps to dull the scent
Just
and stuff.
to protect yourself.
Is that more native?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if these could be a spirit guide for you because you're native.
And what tribe, Anthony?
I have no idea. None.
Okay.
I don't even know what we are.
Right.
Being that my grandmother was so scared to say it or say anything about it, actually.
Oh.
She was very quiet. We'd ask her, and she would get upset.
Have you ever tried to do any sort of genealogy or DNA test?
I thought about it, but I still haven't done it.
Me neither. I'm like, I don't want to be on a list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me neither.
That's the only reason that keeps me from doing it. I don't want to be on a list.
Yeah.
I'm very curious, but no thank you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I kind of don't as well. Because I know I am, and I'm quite a bit. Being that my grandmother was.
Yeah.
And she never said anything because of the things they went through.
Right.
So it was better for her to say she was Spanish than to say she was native. And they all did it.
Where did she live?
She lived in New Mexico.
Okay, so that would be Cherokee, no?
No, that could be.
It could be a little bit of everything,
Zuni,
actually.
Pueblo, Hopi. Yeah, Pueblo and.
Yeah. Navajo, Southern Ute. It could be
Oh, there's one more. I can't
a
think of
little
right
bit
now.
of everything.
What's
Apache.
Apache.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Do you know where she was
Yeah.
born?
It's a little town called Cangilon, and that's in New Mexico.
I would research that town. I'm sure you're going to get something.
Yeah.
Like there can't be too many Indian tribes in that town.
Right.
Yeah.
There got to be only one.
Yeah, it's an itty bitty town. And then they lived in El Rito, New Mexico, which wasn't way far away.
Because I assume that back in, well, it's got to be back in, how old is she? And she
My
passed, right?
When she passed, she was in her 80s. I think it was 1911, I believe, when she was born.
Okay, so that was the exact time where you didn't want to be an Indian.
Right, exactly.
You know, like...
Persecution, so on and so forth. Like, you don't want to talk about it and draw that energy or that attention, so you're just going to say, no, I'm Spanish. No habla.
Yeah. And that's why even to us, even to her own family, she would not tell us what we were. Not even to my mother.
Well, that's a strong fear.
Yeah.
You know, she obviously saw stuff that, or was told stuff that she feared. And really, the way Indian heritage, from what I know, is everything is passed down, right? But
right, that's why I wonder why. Is that the reason I see all the things I see?
Yeah.
Well, it's like I'm Irish and Cherokee in both sides. You know, on the Irish side, they call them seers. Cherokee, that's what my mom was. And she was the spiritual side of me. Like, she could see the dead and talk to them, and she knew when she was going to die, how she was going to die. And she even wrote her dad a letter when her and my dad came out to Colorado for a conference, and then she went to Mesa Verde. And when she went down into one of those kivas, there was like 3 shaman down there doing some sort of ritual. They weren't real, they were spiritual, but she came back up, and my dad said she looked white as a sheet, and after that point, she was like white-knuckling the steering wheel and thinking all the cars on the road were after her. But she wrote my grandpa. I remember when they came to pick us up that her and my grandpa really had it out as far as an argument, and he's like, how dare you write things like that? So on and so forth. And she's like, Dad, this is real. This is really happening. Will you please help me plan my funeral because I want it this certain way? And so he relented, and he did, and it came to pass that she did die exactly how she said she was going to.
Wow.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's crazy how I always thought I was going to be in a wheelchair when I was 42. And I was.
Right.
I had 2 hip surgeries, and I was in a wheelchair. So, and it wasn't for a long period of time, but it was when I was 42. Right. You know, and I said this from 6 years old. And it was, you know, and I was always waiting for 42, you know? And to find out that, yes, I was in a wheelchair, right? Or to find out that I was right. Or, you know, I foresaw it, or I don't know. And then you wonder, so did I foresee it, or did I make it happen? Because I've always thought it would.
Right.
because intention is everything, right? So when I'm doing my healing, it's about intention. When I'm kicking a demon out of a house, it's intention.
Right.
So if I intend on being in a wheelchair at 42, then I'm going to be.
Yes, because you willed yourself to be there.
Right.
You paved the road.
So, right. So am I seeing something or am I making something?
Right.
And I'll still say I'm seeing it because, you're 6 years old. You don't normally, you don't normally say, oh, I think I'm going to be in a wheelchair at 42.
Right.
But, it still makes you think, going, well, the mind is a powerful tool, and you are able to will yourself healed, and you are able to will yourself to die.
Yeah, and it's so true. I knew a guy when I was going to the Mormon church. I was LDS. I'm a recovering Mormon. But Brother Rankin, he was amazing.
We'll let that slide.
Yeah. Thank you so much for understanding.
Yeah.
But he would always say the mind is a powerful thing. Try to control your thoughts. And it is true. Like, there was a time that I almost died. And on the way up this road where there's 1,000-foot drops off and more, I'm thinking, wow, this is such a beautiful place. And if I ever died somewhere, I want it to be somewhere like this. And on the way back down, I did get into a car accident. And it was weird because I'm driving, I'm in my Toyota Tercel, and I hit some corduroy. And then all of a sudden I fishtail, and it was like a 5,000-foot drop off, fishtail this way. And then it was a 50-footer little ledge thing going on. And that's where I went off the road. And it's like, don't think things like that. There's so many times that I've thought something and then it's manifested. And so it is very important it's very important to be mindful of your thoughts. A lot of times when people have issues with negative entities or demons, so on and so forth, just know that you're stronger than this entity, and unless you feed it what it's looking for, it can't stay here. It's kind of like a scuba diver. Eventually they're going to have to go back up for air or whatever, the negative energy, whatever they're looking for. And it's really interesting. You got to kind of rewire your mind and your thought process. How do you react? How do you think? So on and so forth. And that can really help you in those situations as well. It's really hard, though, for a lot of people to do that.
Yeah.
But you just have to be mindful and wary of it and constantly try to make certain tiny little changes. Eventually, it'll be big changes and things will get better. But it is a hard, difficult process sometimes.
Yes, it would, for sure.
Yeah. It would be.
No. Yeah, it's interesting how it works, eh?
Indeed. So, Anthony, I'm so interested in your stories and stuff. Like, I don't know. We should do a show sometime and talk about these different things. I've talked about skinwalkers and different native lore and stuff. And for you to be experiencing those things, like I've experienced skinwalkers on a couple of occasions, but for the most part, I was hearing it from my friends who were native and such, and it's very interesting.
And then, where we worked in Ignacio and all that, going to Bondad and all that stuff,
right?
You get to see different things and hear different things, and you actually see them, and you're like, oh shit.
Well, I know you worked at the go ahead.
Those things I wasn't worried about because I had heard so many things that would happen. So I knew someday I would eventually see something. And those didn't bother me. It's the things that you don't perceive happening.
Right.
And happen. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's sort of like having the smoke-ins, right?
Right.
Where they kind of go into a trance and visualize, I guess, or foresee different things happening.
Yes.
Well, I know I'm not going to get old because I forbid it, and my dad always said getting old is for sissies, and I'm just not going to go there. When it comes time for somebody else besides myself to wipe my ass, just take me out to pasture and shoot me, and we'll all be happier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll be there for you.
I know you will, buddy. Right? But our energy does. Like, just because we die doesn't mean our story ends. We continue on. And, it's hard for us on this side, but on the other side, it's just a release. Can you imagine just being released from this vessel for so many people that is full of pain and other hardships, and just being energy and being omnipresent and wherever you want to be at that particular time and place is very amazing. And
that's right.
Getting into paranormal investigation, like I as well as a kid, like my first memory at the age of 3 and beyond, I've had so many paranormal experiences, and that's why my bedtime is generally 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, because I'm just waiting for something to happen, because it generally does.
Is that why? Is that why that is like that?
Yeah, that's why we have sleep issues. It's like Craig said earlier, it's a form of PTSD, and it does affect us, like, throughout our life. Like, I'm still like that. I was like that as a kid. Sometimes I'd stay awake all night and go to school and be fine, and then perhaps sleep the next night. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's me. You just explained me.
Right? Me and you, brother.
2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm wide awake. And that's a daily thing.
If I don't take sleep meds, I'm up all night. I'm not sleeping.
Huh.
That's right.
Yeah, see, I call it night juice.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You better take some night juice or some wine, and I'm good.
Well, unfortunately, you guys, we are at the end of our time. Craig, how can our listeners find you? Can you give us some links?
Just go to my Facebook, Craig S. Leafloor. I also have a Psychic Medium page. I have Energy Works. That's part of my healing page. And just message me, and I'd be more than happy to help. I do normally charge. So if you're wanting a reading or healing or energy work or clearings or, dealing with the paranormal, just give me a call and I'll do my best to help you.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for being my guest tonight. Thank you, Anthony, for calling, and I'm so glad you guys were on with me on Late Night in the Rockies this evening. It was wonderful having you. And I want to say thank you to all of our listeners on We Are Paradox Media, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and wherever else you may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and I can't wait to do it again. Next weekend, we have the Paradox Portal panel. It's actually the Paradox Paranormal panel, or forum. I just want to say the P words repeatedly. And then we have Amy on Sunday to discuss her past lives, so on and so forth. So many different things coming up. You guys, make sure you tune in. Don't forget, we are all in this together. Together, we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are